What's up, everyone? This is the Denning Podcast. My name is Jake Denning. On this episode, I speak with Matt McAndrew of the band Rain City Drive, who are having one hell of a moment right now. They are about to launch into a massive fall headlining tour in support of their brand new album, Things Are Different Now, which drops at the very end of this month through Thriller Records. We talk about the tour, we talk about the album, as well as we talk about eating well and working out, maintaining a positive mental headspace, and the importance of relationships, and a lot more. If you want to support the podcast, definitely give me a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you like to listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple, wherever, as well as tell a friend. That helps us grow. Additionally, I got to tell you about SeatGeek. First-time users can use promo code Denning to get $20 off your order. Again, that is promo code Denning for first-time users. And with that said, this is my conversation with Matt McAndrew of Rain City Drive. Enjoy. Matt, where is home right now? I forgot. Is it LA?
Los Angeles, yeah.
Los Angeles. You've been home for how long now, or?
Man, I don't know. I think I've been home for gotta be at least a month, which has been great. So
Are you doing lessons at home right now, or are you just kind of chilling?
I do. Yeah, anytime I'm home for an extended period of time, I'll accept whatever students want to book, which is it's always fun. I have like a crew of people that I've been with for a long time, which is cool, or newer people that want to sign up, which is also fun. So I'm just happy to help out, and it keeps me doing something different while I'm home. Other than that, usually I'm doing writes with other people and sessions and whatever. But
yeah, tell me more about that. I mean, who else are you writing with?
Just wrapped up, helped out on the new Colorblind record, which I'm pretty stoked on. I think that'll be cool. And it's funny, Travis, the singer, was actually a vocal student of mine when he first joined the band. He was looking for a little bit of guidance, and yeah, he's a cool dude. So I'm excited to hear that new record. It's cool.
Yeah, they're coming up right now. They're opening on this tour for you guys, so it's kind of a nice full circle moment.
Oh yeah, I don't think Colorblind's
or not Colorblind. Who am I mixed up on?
But I think they'll be a great fit for us in the future for sure if it works out. So hell yeah.
So yeah, other than singing lessons, kind of what else does your daily life look like?
Man, I'm always just writing and working on stuff in the studio. Whether it be like just kicking around new ideas for myself or write with other people. Yeah, just pitching songs to people, or I just try to, stay as busy as I can.
Right, like habits, routines. Like, do you go to the gym at all? Do you read?
For sure.
Like,
yeah, for sure. Okay, yeah, we're doing a deep dive.
Of course,
yeah,
that's how we do it, baby.
I just started a new gym routine that has a little more frequency than I'm used to, and I was just like, yeah, it was just like, I'm just gonna nap all day today. It's like I'm off on the weekend, and it's crazy. I've been I do walk the dog as well, and I just been hobbling around, just like yeah, it's been great, on that MyFitnessPal, trying to get in shape for tour. So
dude, MyFitnessPal is tight. Have you heard of Macro Factor?
I haven't.
Macro Factor is a paid app. Do you know who Jeff Nippert is?
Yeah.
That's his app.
Oh,
so he developed it with it's like $70 a year. It's all AI based. It's like tells you what your goals are, and you kind of just adjust based on your weigh-ins. It's sick.
Okay, yeah, because I obviously really like the concept of MyFitnessPal, but I think the interface itself needs a lot of love for sure.
Dude, MyFitnessPal was the cat's pajamas like 10 years ago, and then Under
Yeah.
Armour bought it out.
Yeah.
And so you used to be able to sneak in there and mess with the script and get all the custom features for free. But they patched all that stuff up, so it's
what's this new one called?
Macro Factor. They've been around for a couple of years, but yeah, they're fantastic, man. You can get a 2-week free trial with a code.
Okay.
But yeah, they're the shit, man. I've been with them for a couple of years now.
Okay, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, because I'm sure, do you ever get home from tour and it's like, oh my god, dude, I'm up like 10 pounds from all the snacks and from the late nights and like
I would say I usually have the opposite problem on tour. I feel like food is just scarce, and I'm somebody that's like, I try to eat decently clean. So there's
Yeah.
just sometimes where I'm like, I'm not gonna eat anywhere at this gas station or whatever it is. Everybody else is eating like McDonald's, and I'll just pass. But yeah, I think at home for me is where I'm like, I'm home, so I have like a cupboard full. I can just walk by, like maybe I'll have this, well maybe I'll have this.
Yeah.
But it's just great. I think everybody's just guessing. Like we're already guessing. We're already trying to kind of maintain. And then I think the danger a lot of times is like people will here we get out will overestimate like how much they're eating, and then
Dude, for real.
they'll be like, oh, I just can't eat anything today, and it's like, no, you could, or like you think the bagel is gonna kill you, and it's really like the olive oil or whatever it is.
Dude,
so.
exactly. Like it's crazy like how much you think you can get away with, but you can't. Like for me, like I mean, if I'm like trying to lean out, it's like 1750 a day, which is sucks. I mean, I'm doing that, a bunch of cardio, and like
Right.
you got to keep it going. But no, the app is great. It'll tell you kind of, it'll figure out like what you're burning based on your weigh-ins and whatnot, and then it'll
Cool.
auto adjust. But you can do your own thing too. It's also, kind of intuitive in that way. But
No, it sounds sick. I'm definitely gonna check it out.
are you doing more like cardio workouts? Are you doing like weights as well, or?
Weights, and then I did just start running too, like on my off days.
Yeah.
Yeah, my goal is always just to look the best that I've looked. So.
Well,
I
but
feel
you're
like-
also a performer too, though. Like you have to perform and do it at a high level. I mean, doing what you do is such a hard task as it is. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it does transfer. It's definitely singing, and just like if I was to be running more, I'm sure it'd make it a little bit easier on stage and whatever. But I kind of just am doing it for the vanity of it, I guess.
which is fine. I mean, that's totally. I mean, that's a valid reason. But like, have you seen a lot of singers like they're really really good, but when they move around, it's like, oh boy.
Oh, they get kind of winded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, honestly, that's a thing too, where it's like, I think it's a little bit correlated to your level of success, because if you're just starting out, I mean, you're crammed in all these stages where you can't really move around anyways. I think it really becomes apparent when you get to a higher level and you're on these big stages where you can run around, and then you're like, oh, all right, I can't, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's when it you think about the Mick Jaggers or Steven Tylers of the world that are just running before tours, and it makes sense because they have a huge catwalk or whatever they're doing,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you looking to get workouts in on the road, or?
Yeah, we usually do. Yeah, me and Raven, our TM sound guy, are always working out together, which is great. He's like the only other one that's out here, so
Yeah.
he's my gym buddy, and it definitely helps for sure.
Do you do like a 24-hour fitness or like a Planet Fitness, or?
We usually do Planet.
Yeah.
They're just everywhere, man. It's like the easiest to try to get in. Every once in a while, we'll be like sometimes like in a Nashville or something like that. The closest thing will be a really nice gym that they do like a day pass. And we're like,
yeah,
all right,
man.
cool.
We'll give you-
And then it just, I mean, for somebody that almost exclusively works out at Planet Fitness, that'll blow your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
So it's like a nice rare treat. But yeah, man. I don't think I'm there yet, because it's like I just have to keep that membership for tour going anyway. So when I'm home, I'm like,
Well, it's a free shower.
It's a
It's a free shower, baby.
Exactly.
Because not every venue on this tour coming up has a shower, which sucks.
Yeah, I mean, we are in the a wagon this time, so we'll have the shower there, but that's always like a interesting experience too, I guess.
Yeah, I had to wonder, because like, I mean, I know you guys were rocking the van for quite some time, but making the upgrade to a wagon.
It's nice for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it sticks. So we'll see. I mean, and it's great, man. It's like when we first started touring, like I thought the van, all our vehicle stuff was just so funny and fun. Like we'd find ourselves in these ridiculous. I remember one time being in Australia. This was back in the day when I was still filming for Johnny. It's like I was like sleeping under the seats, trying just so I could. When I was like, if we hit a bump, I'm screwed, or then like, the first Rain City Drive tours, just kind of same thing, like sprinters, but trying to figure out like how we could make like bunk beds going across the the back, we'd like ratchet strap like around the headrest, put a piece of wood, and it was just like it was crazy, and it was funny, and then it gets to the point where it's like, all right, this is starting to lose a little bit of its charm, but I'm glad that I got to do all that, and because it was a blast for what it was, but it also feels good to move up, you know.
Bro, you've done your time, man. Like, I feel like if this was like a game, you would have a whole ton of experience points, like be on TV,
for sure.
You know, go to college and teach lessons, you know, tour in a van.
Yeah.
I mean, and right now, I mean, it's kind of the biggest moment you've had with the band to date. Like, it's just at this real big crescendo. It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah, and that has to feel crazy for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel like the trajectory has been pretty just up and up, which was cool. Like when I did the voice, that was amazing, but that was a very like, you know, 0 to 100 and then just like a slow coast down. And when I got linked with the guys, that was my first experience really of just like another like nice, kind of like a nice gradual climb, which feels sustainable, which is nice. But yeah, man, I mean, you know, we started over with Rain City, like, you know, we've only been touring for 2 years or something, so that's definitely been a really good trajectory. Like, I know Slaves always felt like there was a kind of a ceiling and a limit on it, and so doing Rain, it was building it, you know, we really started from scratch in terms of like tours, offers, and whatever, but it's been nothing but positive, and it feels good to have something we can call our own, and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's exciting too because I feel like, especially now with these new singles dropping, people are going back like who have never heard of you before. And it's like, oh snap! Like they have 2 full-length records that, you know, I also like, and no, they're going on tour like right now.
Yeah,
like we're coming up on a big moment for you guys.
I think hope this album cycle will really do well. I mean, it's already been great for us. So.
Oh, bro, come on.
Yeah.
It's like you take a band like Dayseeker. Like anyone who likes Dayseeker is gonna love your band.
I mean, that's why that tour was just so great. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but and it's something that we've wanted wanted for a long time. But just thinking about how it's great too, because it wasn't that long ago that they were kind of in a more similar position to us. So that they're just like the opposite of, I don't know, like some of these bands that have been doing it for so long that they're kind of jaded and they're kind of whatever. Like the Dayseeker guys are just, you know, seems like they're enjoying themselves, but they're very professional. They're very considerate of everybody else on the tour, because they you know, they like haven't forgotten what it's like to, you know, not headline or whatever.
Yeah, Rory's a humble dude.
Yeah, it just was like, oh, okay, like this is how we will strive to run our headlines. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like it was very professional and great. Yeah.
But I'm excited though, because I feel like it's, you know, your turn though. Like you've been putting in the work for these last couple of years.
Sure.
You know, you're just online engaging with fans, and you know, with this big moment where these dates are gonna sell out.
Yeah.
Like people are gonna figure out like, oh man, like I feel like even with Over Me and the response it's been getting, like, have you seen a big uptick since that single came out? Or
it just feels like every single, I mean, and it's kind of fun because that's more how we did it with To Better Days. I mean, in part because everything was locked down, but yeah, I mean, back in 2020, that was just like single. I think we had 7 leading up to the record.
Yeah,
which just really helped. And I mean, I've spoken to some fans that they were like, that's what really hooked me, is, you know, and it's great. I always think that's cool. I mean, I think that's how the machine is geared now, right? Which is like you get rewarded for all these little release radar pushes. You know, it's cool. So we have one more coming out on September 6th, and then the album is the 27th.
Yeah, a month from now, give or take.
With like a focus track. So yeah, have you heard the album?
Dude,
or no?
I beat the door down for that. I'm like, let me get it, and then Derek gave me the green light. I'm like, yep, let's go.
Awesome,
dude.
Cool.
Are you going to be doing any sort of like social media content, like even just isolated vocals, or like?
I am, dude. Yeah, no, thank you for reminding me. That's something like I want to go. I want to do that like every single song that we've ever done, and just post up like, I mean, it's so easy. I already have all the vocals, but just to stem it out and show people some of the cool harmony stacks and stuff.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff going. Like I know that Over Me especially had those demos that you were working on.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going into it. There's a lot of layers. Like you have the guitar, you have the keys, you got.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, even with instrumentals, like I would love to see, bass, because the bass, I mean, God.
Yeah, well, dude, I mean, that's what I'm always trying to get Zach to, he's the one with the more like the producer hat out of the rest of the guys, and so like for something like Medicate Me was started out as like an instrumental demo that he had. So yeah, I'd love for him to do a breakdown in terms of like how everything came together with that one would be, and like his.
It feels more fun though too. Like even like just us chatting, it feels more fun to kind of learn about the record, and you kind of appreciate it more. And like I'm sure fans are going to appreciate this record more too once they kind of they hear what us talking, and then you're going to talk to other people as well. I mean,
sure.
I'm sure you'll tap in with Shane down the road.
Yeah, be great. Yeah.
But dude, man, album number 3, it feels so crazy. What is like the one song that you're itching to play live that you haven't yet?
I guess I would say, I feel like Over Me, I always thought would be a cool, like that was one that started really with like tempo. I just, I feel like there's not enough of that kind of like, what we call like we were saying like a low rider or like a hydraulics kind of bounce, just like cool. It just feels really just cool and confident, kind of like tempo. So I think that one should be fun live. I don't know if it's going to make this set, but I think Disarm I could see being fun just because it's so manic and upbeat. Yeah, those are like 2 that kind of come to mind off of the rip. But.
Yeah, so Over Me has that swagger to it though. Yeah, I mean, I get that. It feels very like shades down, like LA temperature 65 at like 7 o'clock at night. Sure, I mean, that was definitely the vibe you were going for though.
Yeah. Is there one that comes to mind that you think will be cool live for us?
Man, I would love to see the closer, Sacrifice, because that's an epic. That's an epic song. Like, I feel like it's like a little bit different compared to what's on the album lyrically though. It's kind of epic. That's the one word I would use to describe it.
Yeah, that was one where my head was definitely in a slightly different space than the other songs for sure. Just thinking about like, I don't know, getting a little more philosophical or something, which I feel like I usually do at least one time on a record. Like, with there's all the little relationship songs and songs about loss on this one or whatever, and that one was just, like, I was listening to a lot of like Nietzsche podcast stuff and reading and thinking about like modern morality and
I was like, has he been listening to like a lot of like Lord of the Rings and Narnia's like soundtrack at all? Like,
well, that was like that one was kind of Zach's brainchild in terms of just like how it starts out really small and just everything is like a linear kind of, like every part develops and gets a little bit bigger, which was cool. But yeah.
Do you guys have the set list for this tour figured out yet, or?
Yeah, we're working on one, and I mean we still have yet to get together and fill it out live, but I mean it's so helpful now. Like everybody can just practice along at home, like to the actual set with the click and in the session or whatever, and then when we come together, it should be pretty easy. But yeah, I'd like to be able to kind of wiggle things around a little bit if it's something that's just not working. We'll see. I mean, the album will have just dropped, so something like Sacrifice probably be playing it live, and it's just like we'll just see how that's received because people won't really know it. But I
mean, do you feel like you're sort of in like this weird territory of like people are going to come out and like, man, I loved everything they played, but you still didn't play X, 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 and X?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I hope so. I feel like that's a good spot to be in because we most certainly can't play all the songs, and I think that was like something I remember Maroon 5 talking about years ago, where they're just like trying to build a set for a tour, and they're just like, well, we have to play this, we have to play this, and have to play. They've had so many hits that it's like even if they're playing for a couple hours or whatever it is, it's like it gets to the point where it's like, do you ever play? Like, what's the point of making a new record, right? It's like, of course, hopefully you'll get a couple new smash singles from it, but it's like, you're never gonna play like a new deep cut again or something.
Yeah.
Unless you really want to, and you can, and that's great. And I think it's cool when, like, I feel like a band like one of my favorites, like Radiohead, will always, if they have a new album, it's like probably a lot of the set is going to cater towards that new vibe and stuff they're excited about. I also love that they always play a different set, which is, from like a fan perspective, is great because it'll give you a reason to, see them again and again and again in hopes that maybe they play, and like they will. I think they do a good job balancing, like, we're gonna give you like probably a Paranoid Android and a blah blah blah, but they're so maybe gonna give you like Let Down or the song Kid A or something a little more obscure or something.
Yeah, is there like a time limit? You guys are like 70 minutes or 60 minutes, or because I think you guys headlined like a couple times before, but it's been like 55, an hour.
I feel like it's a little over an hour, I think, this time.
Yeah, so like 15, 16 songs.
Yeah, which it'll be cool, man. So
I forgot. Are you guys doing like a VIP add-on where you do like a couple acoustic songs?
Yeah, so I think we're pretty limited in terms of just the size of some of these venues logistically. Like I would love to do, when we can, like a sound check thing, something that Dayseeker was doing, and I think with the intention of like, we could run a song or two that aren't in the set, would be a lot of fun. So just be fun for us to play something different, and just so the people there are getting a song that nobody else is, I think would be cool. I think this time where there's like a more of a focus on physical, what kind of like merch and bonus like little things. And
yeah, for sure. Have you guys like thought about doing a cover of any sort? Because I mean, you guys have the talent for it. I mean.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's not something we usually talk about, but I feel like it. Yeah, I feel like it always could be cool. I would definitely like to do it in a way that I don't know. Yeah, it feels like I think something we could really make our own, and maybe potentially is, I don't know, in that same breath, like it's just something that's maybe like an older song that people have kind of forgotten about, but it's really solid.
Yeah, I always love that. I mean, like even like next year doing like a covers EP and then kind of circling that back into the set down the road.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Because everyone has those different influences in the band. I mean, I know that you lean more towards the pop side of things, and then other guys lean towards more the heavy aspect.
Right. For sure. Yeah, my influence is definitely more like, I don't know, heavier for me growing up would have been like Rage Against the Machine or something, not like, which is sick, but yeah, it's more like that's kind of where my head's at when it comes to like rock, but it also is fun to be in a band that is a little heavier sometimes. Like, this is sick.
I mean, speaking of heavy though, I mean, this album, Things Are Different Now, I mean, it's lyrically heavy. It is a heavy ass album. Like you first glance, like you kind of like, okay, then you like look into it, it's like, oh man. Like, what have the last couple of years been like for you?
I was single for a while, and I was dating around, and I mean, a lot of the songs are just about like somebody that I've been seeing for a amount of time that I always thought would inspire some music, and it did, and it was so that was a cool experience writing this record. I mean, we did a write trip leading up to recording, which we'd never done before, so there was emphasis on just the writing part of it, which was cool because I felt like we weren't creating like under the gun. I know To Better Days we did in 40 days in the studio, like writing and recording the album, and like kind of from scratch, which was just so daunting, as you can imagine. But this was really nice to be able to have that time, and I would still go in and a lot of those sessions, like writing a song a day, and not knowing what I was going to talk about and leaving with something finished, but having that time to mull it over and tweak things if I need to or whatever before. And then when you go in the studio, just really focus on tracking and focus on getting the best performances, and not like, do I even like this or something? So
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like a song like Over Me, especially, it's like, I think a lot of people could relate to it. I wish they didn't, because, it
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah.
You have someone that you think you're going to marry, you're going to move on with, and then like they don't. And then it feels like a baseball bat got taken to your life. And it's like, well, shit. Like,
Yeah, that one for me was interesting. Like me and my ex had split up, and it was, definitely for the best, and I was feeling good about things, but there's just still that. I feel like you don't have full closure until you see them with somebody else, you
yeah,
find out they're with somebody else, and you're like, oh damn,
a
and
word.
it was kind of like a wow, like, all right, interesting, and there's some kind of like a, you know I didn't I didn't see us getting back together again ever, or I wasn't hoping for that, but I
Yeah,
just seeing it felt like, oh, so already I was kind of taking my time, and I'm like, okay, interesting,
yeah,
but but yeah, so again, we can talk about it, and probably if you explain that scenario to somebody, everybody would be like, yeah, for sure, like, maybe you're with your whatever, and then there was somebody else. You're like, okay. So, anyways, there's always something to talk about, I guess.
yeah. I mean, from your side of things, like, how do you kind of like get out of that sort of funk that we kind of find ourselves in, like where you have a thing and that was really important, and it's like, for me, like, I stopped working out, like
Mm,
I'll just eat whatever, and then it's like, you know, I'm in this real bad spot, and it's like, shit.
mm. I mean, man, I think it's so tough. I think like habits are everything, and like
Yeah.
momentum is everything. And just in general, I really lean on kind of other people in my life
Mm-hmm.
to give me that structure that sometimes I can't provide for myself. Certainly, like doing the career that I have or whatever, where it's like, if I don't create an opportunity or a job for myself, it usually doesn't exist, and that's a different kind of responsibility. That it's affords a lot more freedom for sure, but it's an increase in responsibility. I think it was way easier back in the day, just working like some kind of a normal job where it's like, okay, here's your schedule, you come in, you're done,
Yeah.
you know. And I think a lot of times, you know, which might surprise some listeners, but I feel like certainly myself or a lot of creatives that I know just crave that structure because we've probably gone without it for so long, and it's like, hey, I want to do what I love to do the most, but I want somebody to like put me to work, so to speak, and be like, okay, here's your schedule. You're coming in, where you're locked out in the studio, all that, whatever, and like that's great. And then when that's or like tour is great for that. And it's sort of sometimes these highs of like all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that downtime, or like you're saying, like, dude, it's so easy to fall off from the gym, and so whatever. When my buddy was just gone, he went on another tour, and like I barely went when he wasn't here, and that was a real shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that was going to happen, but it's like, yeah. So for me, it's like I will kind of always uh like stand up myself, so to speak. Like if I have a meeting planned with just myself, I'm supposed to do something, I'll be like, oh, I'll just do that tomorrow. Or you're like, usually. But if it's with somebody else, I'm like, okay, well, shit, they're gonna be at my house, and I gotta get whatever. And I really try to lean on that. I really try to reach out and plan things with other people and be like, yo, help me work on this, or hey, we should do this, or we should, even if it's a social thing or if it's anything, like a work thing. So
Isn't that crazy? Because like we're both like pretty much the same age, like, and it's at that point where if you're not actually intentionally reaching out, it's like it can be so easy for people to get lost in their own thing and like their own
oh
schedules, and it's like,
yeah.
plus for you, you're gone, a lot of the year, so
Yeah. Yeah, when I'm home and I'm quote unquote off work, that's like when I'm really trying to be super active almost, and just like, oh, I don't have to do anything for the band. Okay, cool. Like let me try to get on all these other things that I'm interested in. And yeah, it was way helpful to try to do it with other people so it actually gets done.
yeah. I mean, so you have this factor of loss with relationships in a dating sense, but you also have a song like Never Bloom where you have that loss of someone important, and it's like, them not getting to see kind of what you're doing now and like what you're going to do in the future.
For
That's
sure.
also super heavy. I mean, that hurts too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a situation like that recently, or?
Yeah, so that song is just about my dad who passed when I was like 24.
Yeah.
And I've never written about it, and I think that one, and I would say like elusive, sort of more in that kind of mindset. And yeah, it was, it was something that I always knew could be a thing to write about at a certain point, but just the songs never really revealed themselves until now. And I'm always just looking for that kind of spark in terms of, you can't really make a song out of just like my dad died over and
Yeah.
over. But it's like when I had once the concept of Never Bloom started to come together, I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. I can see how that could work and be interesting. I had a lot to say about it. Obviously, I was able to fill in the whole rest of the picture. But so sometimes you need that experience, but if you don't have a cool way to phrase it, it's not worth pursuing. So
Yeah, of course.
but yeah, so I mean that one came together in a cool way, and it's been, I mean, honestly, it's been wild to see some of the responses online to that one of just how many people can relate, sadly, to that kind of feeling. And God, some of the stories people have are just like brutal. Like, oh yeah, my so and so was murdered or whatever. It's just like crazy stuff, man. It's comment after comment after comment. So, it's a whole new topic for us lyrically, and it's been wild to see the responses. And if anybody's I think even just posting a comment like that and looking at all the other comments, it's like oh, okay, I'm not the only one feeling this, so
Is that hard though at the same time, like where people like just out of the blue just dump this on you? It's like, oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's hard for me. I think it's I don't know. I think it's because it's like, I guess you know all that exists in the world, but yeah, it's like it's a pretty powerful reminder that human beings are forced to be like incredibly resilient throughout the course of their lives.
Yeah, and I think it's a reason why people are connecting with your band the way they do. Is like you have these real life stuff that happens, and they can relate, and it helps the music's good too. So
yeah, thanks, man. No, yeah, I mean, I've always tried to make sure everything's like really really coming from the heart, and is stuff that's real to me, so I think that's probably helpful. But
so
yeah,
with Medicate Me, it has like that club beat in the very beginning, and it kind of builds to the chorus. I love that. Like, how did that come into the picture?
Man, so again, I think that this one was really like Zach's brainchild initially, and I'd love for him to do a breakdown on it, but
Zach, that's your clue, baby. Do it.
What'd you say?
Zach, that's your clue. Do it.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It's this kind of mesh that we're trying to go for, and I feel like that kind of almost, Billie Eilish inspired like dark pop, whatever, just really really lends itself well to a lot of the heavier rock elements, So I think that's, it kind of depends on what kind of pop you're taking from, but that really seems to like that, whatever dark pop alternative kind of stuff. And yeah, I wrote the top line, this dude Christian, which was fun, and it just kind of came together really fast in a session. And again, just kind of talking about this girl that I saw for probably like a total of 4 months that turned into a whole album, which I'm like, that's pretty time efficient, I'm used to I don't know, having to live a lot more life. But anyways, yeah, it was that song. I don't know. I think we all thought it was cool. We had I had like a kind of a verse 2 that I wasn't happy with, that we just scrapped, and we had that outro open, and so we knew maybe we wanted to do a feature. We kind of just left it open, and Rory was able to come in and do it. He was definitely our first choice for that, and he just kind of smashed it. And we've never done a feature before, and so I guess I thought that it could be good, but just seeing the combined reach of both bands and fan bases, and it's been wild. I mean, it's been doing so well for us, and I think it is a really cool song, but you just kind of never know until stuff comes out. So seeing the response to that one's been
Which
great.
is tight because, I mean, again, like if you like Dayseeker, you love Rain City, and vice versa. So it's like this weird, superhero
I mean,
kind of.
yeah, I think there needs to be more of that. Like I would love to do more features. I mean, obviously Rory set the bar really high. He's so professional and easy to work with and whatever, but would love to do more like super high caliber features like that really try to solidify like whatever kind of era we're in with this modern rock music. I think there's like something really cool to that.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I mean, you released a deluxe version of the last album.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance we can do that again on this album down the road and like do additional guest features like
that? I mean, that would actually be sick. Yeah, I something I haven't thought of, but I'm gonna take it and run with it. But yeah, we had a couple songs. I mean, we wrote like 20 songs or something for this album.
Okay.
And so we have 2 that are fully recorded that I thought was best to leave off of the main record. I just liked the track listing kind of as is, but I think they're cool songs that the fans will enjoy. So we'll have 2 fully kind of fleshed out bonus songs, and then I'm sure we'll do, some like reimagined versions, and then maybe like a new feature, like a new verse or something. Of the song would be sick. So
well, if you had it your way, like who would jump on?
Talked about Caleb potentially for something would be really cool.
We're talking Shomo or
yeah.
Okay.
Ollie's always a favorite of mine.
Ollie from
Bring Me.
Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was like from.
I just call him O. Just giving you. I just
no, but like there's other Ollies in the scene. I mean, there's I think Ollie from gosh dang it, what's the other band? There's definitely one out there. I know that.
Yeah. There's one lurking around. But yeah, I think honestly, I think it would really just like to depend on the song. I feel like it'd be cool to, like maybe like Spirit Box feature on something. That'd be like cool to get like a female voice on something. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, that would be like a kind of like a duet, like a kind of a back and forth.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. Be cool to get like take a straight up rap feature on something. Be cool to, I don't know, man. Anybody that can really sing would be sick. It'd be sick to do like something like maybe a little bit outside of the scope of rock, because I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I got here. So it's like I think if you just took any really good singer, it would probably work. So
I forgot to ask, what's the one single that's gonna come out on the 6th?
Oh, it's a song called Concrete Closure that you've already.
Yeah, man.
I had to.
I mean, because really, you can't really lose on which one you drop. But I mean,
thanks, man.
Lose by Composure can go in really well. It has those layers like we talked about, like the guitars and the vocal runs. And was there a song in particular that was like the most difficult to lay down vocals for, or?
To lay down vocals for. I'll tell you what, man. I mean, we did. we were a little pressed for time. I think I did all the vocals in like 9 days or something like that for like 10 songs. So all the stacks and BGVs and everything. But it was great. I mean, it was really fun working with Dan, and we were just rolling. And luckily, my voice was feeling good. So, but I'm trying to think. Funnily enough, sometimes for me, like the big belty chorusy stuff is kind of could come easier. Like if I'm feeling good vocally, performance wise, that's never that challenging, just because I'm having to lay into the notes so hard that I feel like the performance and the emotion is kind of baked in. One that I do remember retracking, because I heard the rough and I was like, no, I gotta go fix that, is the first verse of Disarm. just because it's like that low kind of lethargic delivery. Just like I just wanted it to sound really like cool and laid back. And so a lot of times I'll spend a little more time on the verses because I feel like they're more nuanced, and it's like I just like get into the details of this, like the style of the delivery of the vocal, and it's less than like the choruses. I can just kind of let them rip, and they usually sound pretty cool. So.
Yeah. So I want to hear more about working with Dan Bronstein in particular, because
Yeah.
you guys had a team kind of on this record. You had him, you had Eric Ron work on Frozen.
Yeah, for sure.
Tompa, he worked in some capacity on the record.
Yeah, I mean, so what was cool about Dan is him and his buddy Zach Tush work in a studio space together, and they're always kind of making these records and producing these records shoulder to shoulder, but never in the same room at the same time. And so this was the first record that they tag teamed, and it was really effective. Dan's, primary focus was with me on vocals and finishing production elements, and then Zach Tush was in the other room with the instrumentalist. Minus Zach Baker was hanging out with me and Dan and digging into the production stuff, and he's just such a great drummer that I'm pretty sure he tracked all the drums in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like just at the very end, sweating his ass off, just killing. I mean, he's.
Are you surprised? Like that's kind of a surprising bit. I mean, I would never have guessed that, because he cooked on this album. I was gonna highlight that, because it's like, obviously you did your thing, and to a high level, mind you. But like, is there anything else about the record, whether it's performances from other guys in the band or other aspects that you were like, you know what, this is my favorite part about it?
Oh, I mean, just to give Zach Baker a little more credit on this one, and he when we did To Better Days, he was I would say pretty new to writing. I think that was the first album that he, to my knowledge anyways, that was like, he was really involved in the writing, recording process, even just with his own drum parts, and not just like, here, track this, or not even involved, whatever. So but from that point to this record, I mean, he's really come into his own as a writer, producer, mixer. Mm-hmm. So he's the majority of this album. Zach Cervini did 3 of the singles, but Zach Baker did all the rest of the record, which is really cool. He is a producer on Frozen and I believe Sacrifice. Yeah, he's like able to churn out these, full instrumental ideas now from like a writing standpoint, which is great. So yeah, I feel like he was my right hand man when we were trying to do this pre-pro going into the album, which is really cool. So it's cool to see him grow into this kind of more of a primary writer role from where he started. Is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, would you want to keep this kind of same team together for the next one, or?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I would love to work with Dan and Zach Tush again for sure on the producer side, and then the mixes turn out great. Like there's something about a Zach Cervini mix that he's obviously really talented at what he does, but also you've just heard that sound with these other huge records that you love, and so immediately you're just like, oh yeah, that's what it's supposed to sound like. It just sounds great. And I think our own Zach Baker did a good job hanging with that for sure. So I would love to replicate success. We work with a few really talented outside writers that I would always love to go back to again. I would love to work with some more like pop focused top liners too.
Yeah.
And the next one, because I mean, I think like between the band and Dan and whatever, like we can cook up some really cool rock instrumentals. I did the majority of the top lines myself on this record, like I normally do. Had people like Curtis Peoples for "Wish You the Best," which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Christian for "Medicate," Eric for "Frozen," Canner on a couple of songs, which is great. But like, I would love to work with somebody that's like, doing the new Ariana Grande album or something, and like really try to hone in on that super like just pop catchy stuff married with the heavier instrumental stuff that we do. I think would be really cool. Which is kind of always what we strive for,
Yeah,
but
which of course.
trying to build the biggest baddest team. You know what I mean? So.
Which again, I mean, is why I feel like you guys are so accessible, and why this like album cycle is going to really blow things up. Like TikTok in particular is going to be a huge outlet for the band.
Yeah,
That
for sure.
Reels, like, I know the conversation has been like, that quote unquote baddie core with, Bad Omens and,
I love it. I mean, I think for all the stupid names that it could have, that's, I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, great. Like I can definitely live with that. That's fine.
Like you're going to have hot people that don't normally listen to like this side of music, like really tap into this band and like,
yeah. I mean, that's, in terms of myself, like I probably only listen to stuff that would be considered baddie core. Like, you know what I mean? Like I like the music that we make. I like Bring Me. I like Bad Omens. I like Spirit. But like that's kind of where my head's at. So from the people, for the people, to the people, I would make accessible hard rock songs. Because if it's for me, if it's too heavy, I don't usually enjoy it as much. First and foremost, like I'm a vocalist. I fucking love singing. Like that's I love great lyricism. There is some really great lyricism in like harsh vocals, scream, whatever. But I'm not gonna know what they're saying unless I'm looking at a lyric sheet. And I think I just love like the art of singing, and so I'm always going to be a little more partial towards that, and just a nice poppy, catchy melody with a little more edge to it. I think is a lot of fun for people.
So was there any lyrics on the album that you didn't write that someone else kind of popped in there, like, ooh, that's really good, we have got to include this? Like,
I mean, it's tough, man. Like I definitely, I don't know, definitely wrote the majority of them solo still. Even like for songs like Lose My Composure or Disarm, we went in with KJ, who's great, and it's sort of was just me just like on my phone, and by the time the track's done, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to cut it. And it just like sometimes it all comes out like that. And even when I'm teaming up with people, it's like I try to think about it like all right, you're here to help me bring my vision to life and my thing. But when I was younger and I first started doing co-writes, I was in the room with these super talented people that had a lot more experience than me, and like you'd get up and go to the bathroom, and you'd come back and they'd be like, okay, so we wrote the second verse, and I was like, oh wow, so I kind of learned from that. I mean, I learned a lot from that, not just that, but to really try to be active and really try to be like, I never want to bring in people and sort of like just, yeah, I'm sure that's good. I kind of lean back. I always take a really active role, and I'm like, oh, that's great. I mean, a lot of times it could be anything, but it's as simple as like, you're stuck on a rhyme, or you're stuck on kind of tying in some kind of last little thing. In terms of like a cool, simple example, Canner was the one that came up with Concrete Closure just as a title, and that was like that was a good enough jumping off point. Curtis came up with like, hey, maybe Never Bloom's a cool title, before we even knew what we were talking about, and then we kind of figured out what the song would be about. So sometimes it's somebody like that has an interesting title, the same way I might hear like an instrumental and be inspired by it. Again, it just kind of takes that spark, and then you're pulling from experience and pulling from just I think the craft of songwriting is kind of like knowing what to do with a good idea once you have it, but it's not guaranteed that you'll get that initial spark. So
yeah,
always really grateful for that. And I mean, just listen, I'm still at the point where I'm trying to prove myself as a writer, whether it be in my own band or working with other artists and whatever. But I also being really aware of the fact that I don't have all the good ideas, and it's awesome to assemble a team of people that's like, wow, I would have never thought of that. Or I think every single song that we have on this record, that does have outside writers or producers or whatever it be, it's like it would not have been the same song. We wouldn't have that song. So it's I think it's cool, you know.
Is there a song that almost didn't make the record?
Good question. Maybe a song like, I think of which one was kind of not as popular. I mean, we see, it's tricky because like I mentioned, we had like 20 songs going in, maybe 20 plus. And so we'd already whittled it down to this batch that we have. So I think we felt pretty confident about the selection of songs. We did cut two for the deluxe. So, but in terms of the ones that are on here, I mean, I think we all felt pretty good about them. I mean, some of them were more of a pain to bring together than others. But yeah, nothing really comes to mind. There's a lot that just actually didn't make the record. So,
was this album this is number 3 for Thriller? Is this the end of your deal with the label, or
so this is our second album with Thriller?
Well, I mean, because I thought Two Bitter Days was like re-released through Thriller for number 1.
No, that one's still on SBG actually.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Thriller. You know, we listen. We love to work with Thriller more in the future, and I think we'll just have to figure out what happens after this. But hopefully, we're in a really good position, and that, you know, we'll both want to continue to work together for the foreseeable future, and it'll be great. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're a great label. They're doing some amazing things. I mean, that Home Team record again, fantastic.
It's a nice, you know, I think like for me personally, I've been on really small labels and I've been on major labels, and it's nice to have a sweet spot where you feel like there's a big enough team, but it's also like you can call up Bob and be like, hey, what'd you think of whatever? You know, I think that's to me, that's really important. And I mean, a lot of times when things get too big, stuff just gets lost in the sauce, you know? So it's nice to have a team where everybody's really involved and passionate. And I mean, I know Thriller is that way, and Bob is you know, really wanting to find the next Pierce the Veil or the next whatever it might be, you know, and we would love to be that type of band.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, this tour pops off in like a month or so. I mean, you're playing some good rooms. I mean, and hopefully it's the last.
That's the last piece of the puzzle for us. I mean, we're really pleased with where our streaming numbers are at and everything, and so I think it's just kind of getting that next level live and doing a couple headlines after supporting for the last couple of years. You know, I think then everything will start falling into place, and it'll be good. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, again, like this. Hopefully, it's the last time you'll play a lot of these venues, and like it's just another step up. And then,
sure,
you know, same thing with Dayseeker. I mean, they played places like the Hawthorne or whatever. Now they're headlining the Crystal in Portland, and that's the biggest venue in the city.
Oh, nice, man. Is that the closest spot for you?
Yeah, Portland. That's the closest spot.
Okay. I'm noticing you got your Oregon State on. So
yeah, man. Yeah. It's
cool.
Football season, baby. Week 0.
Right. Nice.
Do you follow sports at all, or?
Man, I used to. And anytime I do, I like it, and I'll get into it pretty quick. I remember for a while I was singing at some of the like NFL games, and just by being around it, I would come home and I'd be like, oh, I want to put this on. I'm just be like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like in it now, you know. That's sort of where I'm at. I'm sort of like, if you leave me to my own devices, I'll have no idea who's in the Super Bowl or what's going on. Like, but if I do watch, like I would like it, you know. So,
you know, sports, you know, people love it for different reasons. I mean, you can go to a game, catch a few drinks, have a good time, and just chat, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, I mean, you'd be crazy to like write off the whole thing. I mean, there's so many people who are enjoying it, and this whole industry built around it. Like it's gonna be good. You know what I mean?
For sure. So. Okay, so yeah, the album drops in a month. I mean, there's pre-order packages available, I would assume.
Yep.
Okay, that's available on your socials. Pretty easy to find.
Correct.
And then pre-sales for the tour. I mean, shows are going to start selling out.
Yeah, that would be the main thing. Anybody listening to this that wants to come check us out on the road, that'd be great, and be excited to see you out there. So
Yeah, I mean, can they expect like a lot of the older songs too in the set list, or is it going to be
for
mainly?
sure, man,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, we're not out here trying to do some self-righteous, artistic, whatever. Like it's a lot of it is just going to be like, what are our top Spotify songs? Like I don't think we might not play your favorite song if it's a deep cut, but just know that if it's one of our more popular songs, we will absolutely play it.
So you're like your eye openers, your witch hunt, you're dying for. Those are gonna be kind of.
Man, for sure.
That's gonna be tight though. I mean, I'm excited for you. You're gonna be kicking some ass this year, and then into next year. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. You know.
Okay, we'll wrap up with this here. What are some things that people think they know about you that they really don't?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like probably people don't really know me that well at all. I suppose if they're just listening to the music, that's a
good thing
though. I don't know. I mean, you know what's interesting, when I did the voice back in the day, I felt like people had a pretty good read on me just because they do so many like interviews and you hear about my whole life story and stuff. And
yeah,
so
I forgot about that.
That was kind of funny because somebody would, stop you and want a picture and then be like, "Oh, how's your mom doing?" or "How's whatever?" And I'm like, it felt very like, "Oh,
oh my God,
these people are up on it,"
Yo, did you hear about what that? You hear about the situation with God, what's her name? Chapel Roan.
I mean, I know about Chapel, but
I guess like she had been on TikTok and she's like, yeah, hey, like if you see me out, like I'm like by myself, like don't ask for photos, don't ask for like. And people are having their own like reactions to it. I'm like, I get it. You're off. Like,
right.
It's like, I understand if you're outside of a venue, like, sure, whatever. But like, if you're at Target, like, don't run up on you and like.
It's tricky, man. I would personally never talk to anyone, but anytime somebody would come up and ask for a photo with me or whatever, I'm always super excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, bring it on. But you just don't know how people are. Chapel's cool. That my girlfriend's a super talented vocalist, and she was her backup singer for her Tiny Desk. I don't know if you saw that, but
no, but I mean that's a huge deal, though.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Hey, anything else you kind of want to highlight here, or kind of put forward before we kind of wrap up here? Or?
Come to tour, and I hope that you come to tour,
dude. I will be making it out for sure.
Yeah, just hit up whoever you talk to about this, and we'll see you out there, baby.
I'm thinking, I mean, I might have to bring the wife out too, because I think this is a good crossover for her. She's like very scene adjacent, but
okay, what kind of stuff is she into?
She likes who's that guy, Jesse McCartney.
Oh,
she
yeah.
Marked out for that. And then who else? Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
So like this is a good like easy crossover. I took her to the Emo's Not Dead cruise last year or this year. That was tight.
All right. Well,
dude,
great.
I've been saying like you guys would kick some ass on that cruise.
I know.
I wish like.
Be sick.
Maybe I mean, would you guys play that if like a last minute slot came up and like it's February? Are you guys booked for February?
I think we are. I know we have something at the top of the year, which I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, no, I mean, I would love to do like some boat rocking.
Rocklahoma, whatever. Rock. Yeah, those are tight though. It's like
I've just never done it, so maybe after I've done it, I might be like, I threw up the whole time. It was great. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's so tight, man. Like it's like the intimacy. Like, okay, I'm watching Senses Fail while also drinking a pina colada.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sounds great.
It's so tight, man. Like if you can get on one of those cruises, like definitely do it.
No, yeah, I would love to try it.
Yeah, you'll feel like kind of like a mayor where people are like, "Hell, you're so and so." Like, yeah, what's up, man?
Right, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro. Well, man, thanks for taking the time, and
of course,
glad that you dig the new record, and I hope to see you on the road here soon.